What's up, guys? Welcome back to another EVE Online video. A lot of you have been asking for my overview, so I figured I'd make a video kind of going over how I've customized it, how to kind of navigate through the overview customization window and kind of get things where you like them. I'll also offer a link to my overview in case you want to use it and try it out after watching the video, or just, apply it to your character and follow along in this. Once the new overview changes come out, it'll probably change a little bit for me, but probably not that much. I'll probably just have like the PvP tab up separately. Right now it's just separated based on a tab, but you'll be able to have multiple overviews up in the future. But we'll go and kind of go over this a little bit. As you can see here, this is the main thing that you guys seen in other videos. I've changed it a little bit. I updated it today, just kind of like, in preparation for this video, just kind of streamline it a little bit. So these tabs are essentially just separated by certain things. Like this is just an all tab. This has everything in it. Mining tab will show pretty much anything that's mineable. Will be harvestable gas, compressed gas, moon ore, asteroid ore, pretty much anything that you can use on a mining ship. I used to have this separated by moon, gas, and ore, but since you're never in one spot or more than one spot at the same time, I just kind of dumped it all into a centralized mining tab. The PvP tab will essentially show anything that is ships, NPC ships, players, pretty much anything like that. That's what I usually am on when I'm running like combat noms, or if I'm looking for PvP players coming on the field or anything like that. It'll all show right here. I don't show wrecks here just because it kind of clutters everything up, and I'm not really worried about it until the appropriate time. The site tab here, this will show basically data and relic nodes. So when I'm running when I'm running exploration sites, then I just have all that stuff here. It's very nice and separated. This warp tab is essentially just stations, citadels, engineering complexes, things like that, or like just gates. So if I'm just traveling and all I care about is just things that I can warp to and either dock or jump, it's all just kind of right here. This loot tab, it'll show cargo containers, secure cargo containers, and wrecks. So when you get ready to loot and everything, it's just kind of populated here. You can kind of sort it by type, and it makes it easier to see like commander wrecks and things like that. Another thing I do too is for my D-scan, I actually have it set to my own preset, which is ships and PvP. I think normally if you start up D-scan from the beginning, you basically see everything. But I just kind of like use my own preset for that, so I'm literally just looking at everything that shows up in D-scan is essentially going to be the same thing that shows up in the PvP tab here. So let's now go into the overview settings here. I show brackets for everything. That's just personally how I do it. This overview is shared from my main, so when you load it in, you probably won't get the colors here, but they're not messed up right now. But if you have to reapply colors to each tab, it's done here, or the name, and then you can also just set the overview preset here. You can also right click and load presets from here as well, and this actually allows you to do some interesting things. So like, let's go to this warp tab here. The tab preset right here, this is what lets you like create new presets or adjust the preset that's already loaded to that tab. You have to actually change the tab over here in the overview in order to change it over here. So for instance, let's say we want to make another preset that literally just shows gates. So I'm going to deselect all, and then I'm just going to kind of search gate, and we're just going to go, not warp gate, we're going to go Stargate, and then we're going to save it. We'll just save this as gates. And then now this is actually loaded as gates, but then you can actually switch between it. So you can load preset tab. I have a bunch of other ones here that I've got to clean out and everything like that too. But if you ever want to like change down to anything, you can do it from in here. So we have gates here, but then we can actually just go back to what it was, which is warp. But for like, if you're like strictly just traveling and all you want to see is stargates, then that's like something that you do here. Another thing you do as well is you can go up here and go to delete, and you can actually like clear any of these presets that you've actually got in here. A lot of these are just left over from many years of doing stuff. I've got to clear all this stuff out. And when you load this, you won't get any of those presets. I've cleaned all this stuff out for the most part. This is kind of left over from the actual character. And that's how you just edit anything. So like if you go to this PvP tab here, you'll be able to see kind of what's selected here. So you can see entities. Got a bunch of entities selected. It'll show, and then it'll show ships and things like that. The appearance, I don't really mess with the appearance too much. You can add flashing and stuff like that to the overview to help you see things easier. I just don't worry about it. So I, bounce between like null and high sec quite a bit. So if I turn all newts into flashing, I get, crazy disco show in high sec. And you get kind of lost in the weeds and this stuff too. Like this would be the color tag and then the background. And I just leave all at default because I don't mind how it actually operates. Columns, I usually just run icon, distance, and name. And that just allows me to clean this up a little bit more, have it a little bit more presentable. I like to have everything kind of, as compact as possible, and everything kind of in its own spot. And then your ship, this is where you can just select, you can show your ship type, your alliance tag and name, ticker for corp, and all that. I just leave it all off because it's just stuff I don't need to know. So, and you can also change the color of that stuff too. So like if you actually like select your ship, right now it doesn't show anything, but you can like customize how this whole thing kind of displays. And you can bold it, italicize, or underline, and you can change the font size and the color of each thing, and kind of customize it to wherever you're liking. And then here, this is where you would actually import export. So if you download the overview from the description here, you'll want to drop it in your, if you're running a Windows PC, you want to go in your documents, your E folder, and then your overview folder. You want to put that in there. And then you come over here and go import, and you select the file name, and then I just do check all. It'll show you all the presets that it'll come with, and then it'll automatically load it all in. And you can kind of like customize it from there. Some of the other things I do too that aren't necessarily overview related, but just kind of like UI related, is I like having my inventory out so I can see what's going on. If you want it to like stay like this, then all you have to do is when you come into space, you just have to open up your inventory, kind of get it where you want it, kind of pin it. I also do everything with light background and usually lock everything in place. Most of the time, if I'm just doing like really low key stuff, I kind of stack my directional scanner, my probe scanner. But if there's cases where I'm actually doing things where I want to watch both, like scanning or whatever, and I need to access the B and B key to like, manipulate those, then I'll just drag them out separately. And then normally I'm just running like 360 degrees on angle and 14.3 AU on the D scan. If I am watching a gate, I'll actually go to first person view. So we'll go to like warp over here. Let's just say we align to the New Caldari gate here. Because what will happen with the D-scan, if you're not familiar with it, the cone will actually the cone will actually go in the direction your camera is in, right? So let's go 30 degrees, and let's go to orbital view. Now, if I'm moving my camera around my ship, that's what's actually going to change that cone and what I'll be actually able to scan. So if I'm watching a gate, then I'm going to want to be in first person view because that allows me to kind of like easier. Let's pick another gate that's not going to have me bounce off this structure here. They might all make me do that though. But anyway, you get the idea. If you like align to the any point that you want to like kind of look at, then you can adjust down the angle, and then you kind of just watch that gate. So for instance, let's like align to this gate. I think it's still we past this structure. So there it is. We're kind of past it now. We're still too far out from it. If we were closer and we were within 14 AU, we'd be able to basically, only see what's going to be at that gate. And that's just another way to kind of utilize that directional scanner. But you want it up kind of on your inventory or your UI all the time. And then other things I'll do too is, especially if you run in like, let's say you run in null and you have like an intel channel. Normally intel channels are just going to be like, everything is going to be in here. Just you're not going to care what the member list is in intel. So normally in intel channels, I'll go over here to this little people icon, and I'll actually remove that member list because that allows me to actually get more of a clean look on my intel channel. And because it doesn't actually matter who is in the channel, all I care about is what's being reported and things like that. And then also I just stack all of my stuff, into one little area. Another thing I will mention too is this is probably not really relevant for a lot of people, but if you play Eve on like multiple different like resolution types, if you actually like bring any UI element up towards the toolbar, you can't see my toolbar because I'm running an ultra wide, but we'll just pretend, right? If any UI element is adjacent to the nano bar or on the right side of the screen, anytime resolution will change, those UI elements will be in a relative position. They'll move with the resolution. But then if there's any UI element like Dscan, if it's like out here next to local and my resolution changes, this will still stay as an absolute. So you'll see this kind of bunch up like that, or if you have a higher resolution, it'll come out like this. So most of the time, most of my UI elements are, aligned to the right side and aligned to the left side, right adjacent to those edges. So if I'm going from using like an ultra wide to like just a standard, size HD monitor, most of my interface doesn't have to be like readjusted. Doesn't happen too often, and that's one of those like pieces of information that's, probably not super relevant for most people, but it does help to know, right? And as you can see here, I run a gap here. This is basically for any time I'm in a ship that has a drone bay. That's where it usually populates and things like that. And then my select item window is off screen as well, just because it's kind of annoying to when I'm recording and stuff like that. It doesn't like to hide information very well. Another thing too is whenever I'm setting up overview as well. Actually, we're gonna have to get back over here to the station. You want to make sure you're always like changing your target anchor as well. We'll get back over here and then I'll show you kind of how to do that if you don't know. While we're traveling over there, I'll give you a little bit more information. Like you can also click down your capacitor for like half a second and you can move this from side to side depending on what you want to do. And then also if you like slow down, you'll actually feel it click back to center right about there. One other thing you do too. Also, you can't see it, but like this is the notification thing. If you click down for like a second, it'll become big and you can actually move it anywhere on the screen that you want. I just bring mine to the bottom right always just to have it out of the way. I run tactical view just because it's one of the best views in the game. I think it's going to give you a lot more information as far as targeting and things like that. Let's see if I can show you what I mean. So like this little pip right here, you can see like I'm selecting this Caldari gun. Whenever my radius touches this little dot right here, this little circle, transparent circle here, that means I'm in targeting range. And that should give you an idea of like, if it's like below you or above you, it's going to give you a better idea of like when it's going to be in target range. So we should be able to target this structure now. I always just like undock and like target a structure when I'm like messing with my anchors. So normally you just right click on this little thing in the very top corner of the target. You go unlock target list and you can just drag this around. If you go past the midpoint of the screen, it'll flip. If you go down to the bottom corner, it'll flip in the other direction. So you can think of the screen as being in like cut in fours. I usually just have always kept it in the top right. That's what I'm used to. And I lock it. Another thing that a lot of people might not know is you can sort this as well. Like if I'm running like a site and I want to like put all the cruisers here, battleships here, frigates here, you can like freely drag this stuff kind of all over the place, right? So as I'm targeting stuff up, if I target a frigate, I'll put it down here. Keep battleship right here, maybe. Put, sentry guns down here. It allows you to just kind of like, prioritize targets that way. But most of the time I don't have to do that since I have this, PvP tab. I can just sort by type. If you sort by type, it'll actually sort it by ship class. And then you can either have like frigates on the top or frigates on the bottom. Or you can like do by distance, obviously. But hopefully you guys learned something about the overview in this video. And let me know what you think if you download and use my overview. And if you have any other suggestions for anybody in the comments, let everybody know. We're all here to learn and get better. But anyway, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.